Welcome to the Trureform Podcast. We're your host. I'm Nam Solomon, and this is Marcus Cherry. And our goal is to transform, reimagine, and unite all people from all walks of life, and understand all. Today we have our guest Ernie Newton, and we're very happy to have him. And we're excited to get into a little bit of his life and everything that he's been through and get some information for you guys. And Marcus is going to pretty much let you guys know a little bit about him.
So again, Marcus Cherry, man, we appreciate Ernie taking the time, because we know he's a busy man. If you are from the Connecticut area, you know Ernie's actively playing a role in just supporting anything around reentry, from changing legislature to actually getting his hands dirty and doing the work itself, right? I've had the pleasure of working with Ernie for a few years now. Phenomenal dude, inspirational, but most importantly, he cares, right? So Ernie, thank you so much for being here with us. We greatly appreciate your time.
Thank you all for having me, man. Two
Absolutely.
good brothers, man. And this is what it takes for us to get the message out,
Absolutely.
and things like this gives people a different perspective. Because one thing about incarceration, it don't discriminate. They take the rich, the poor, the fat, the ugly, the skinny, whatever. It says whoever will, let them come. And so it doesn't discriminate.
So kind of just to kick things off, Ernie, I know you well. Everybody in really the Connecticut area knows you well. But for people who don't know who you are, right? Like, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your work experience and background.
Yeah, I'm Ernie Newton. And like I said, I want to thank you brothers for inviting me. I grew up in the city of Bridgeport. Came from a family of 7. My mother and father were married. They had 5 kids. Prior to that, they both were married, got divorced, and they both had 2. So I have 4 other brothers and sisters. We grew up on welfare because, my mother did what she had to do to try to raise 5 kids. We didn't know we were poor because mother is my mother. And, back then we had extended families and we thought we was rich. So it didn't make a difference. But, we came up during a different time where your parents were respected. We didn't talk back, even if we wanted to talk back. So the era we came up in was an era where your neighbor could chastise you, where, it was more family oriented how I grew up. I I went to all the elementary schools in the East End, went to Harding, graduated from Harding, and what happened in my life was I had a guidance counselor that told me I wasn't college material. And back then we had the factories, we had different kind of things happening, and it was probably my junior year. But instead of getting mad, I got into a program called Upward Bound. It was run at UB. Now, there was 2 Upward Bounds. One for the real smart kids in Fairfield. Right. And then they had one at UB for the inner city kids, as I call it. But the good thing about that, person by the name of Ernie Parker, who graduated from Morgan State, took inner city kids and exposed us to something that changed our lives. And what he did was he took us to colleges, black colleges. We went to Howard, Lincoln, A&T. I don't think we went to Winston-Salem. We went to Cheney. But what that did was it exposed us to a different kind of life. And I can remember I went to Winston-Salem. When I got on that campus and I saw black people, men and women, getting the education, I was like, holy. I thought I had died and went to heaven. I couldn't believe it. And it was brown. It was back in the 70s. And we were into the black power stuff, afros and dark sheepies. And
What a time.
we had, but the point I'm making is, just think if our children could be exposed, like we're building the Bassett on UB campus. People was yelling, why are you doing that? You know why? because it'll give our kids an opportunity to see people that look just like them
Right.
doing positive stuff than looking out their window seeing people selling drugs.
Mhm.
So you got to give them a positive thing. But that's a little bit about me. I couldn't get a job in North Carolina, so I came back home. I taught in the school system for 5 years. I taught music. And in 1981, I decided I wanted to get involved in politics at the age of 25. Because I felt I did what the community asked me to do. They said, Ernie, get an education and come back home and help our people. And that's what I did. And at the age of 25, I became the first black president of our city council. And that was unheard of because nobody even knew what a president of the council was until I got the job. And I showed people the power and those kind of things. And I was a senator and a state rep and went to prison. But I came out. And when I came out, I didn't come out with my head down. I came out the same way I came in. Sharp, kufi on, saying I'm back. Because I wasn't going to let them break my spirits. To think that now I'm supposed to come back bitter, angry, it's their fault, like a lot of brothers and sisters do.
Mhm.
So, and first job I got, I was helping my sister with her home health care agency, just answering the phones. Wasn't a lot of money, but everybody got to have a starting point. And then, I didn't try to use my clout because I could have. And one day I was sitting in a meeting with Scott Wilderman, who's my boss today from Career Resources, and he gave me an opportunity to be a navigator for reentry. And I put on workshops, I put on fairs. They never had that stuff, man. I've got companies to hire them. And today I run the Bridgeport Welcoming Center, where I'm really proud of it because we've seen over 400 something people. Our recidivism rate is so low that it shows that it works, man. And Marcus can contest to it. The first thing I did when I got on the city council, I passed a resolution that 25% of the jobs, or 5, whatever it is, had to go to returning citizens. Marcus is a witness. There are people working for the city of Bridgeport as you and I speak that wouldn't have had that opportunity if I didn't do that. So that's, I'm married. I've been married since 1980. I have 4 children. I have an older son that graduated from Naval Academy, but he was born in North Carolina. When I married my wife, we had 3 beautiful children. They're all grown. And that's a little bit about me, man.
Question, Ernie.
Yeah.
So I'm originally, I'm from New Haven, born and raised, and
Yeah,
even
you know
yeah,
the Newtons there. You know the Newtons. We're all
I know
connected.
I know some news in New Haven for sure. But even coming up in New Haven, everybody knows about the '90s, and Bridgeport, the main cities in Connecticut, Hartford, New Haven, Bridgeport. Bridgeport was really tough at that
That's
time.
right.
What was it like? Because you spent, I think, about 17 or more plus years, in the General Assembly, and what was it like going through that? Because I'm sure you definitely, were a staunch advocate of helping during that time. What was it like going through that time period and then finding yourself battling the justice system later in your career? How did you tackle that? What was that like?
Well, I always knew growing up as a kid that our justice system meant just us. Like
Mm,
Richard Pryor said, the justice system in America means just us, you and me. But when growing up, I read a lot, I watched a lot of things going on, but I was focused to make sure that while I was in those positions, long before reentry became popular.
mm,
Mhm.
You said you're from New Haven.
mm,
A brother by the name of Bill Dyson, who was a state rep, him and I and other black leaders in the legislature was fighting for reentry long before these kind of things were happening, man. And I think that that's important to understand that the fight started a long time ago.
Mm.
Okay, and dealing with it it's just something about when you grow up in a city and people know you, they listen to you. Okay, and we were on the front line trying to help our brothers, you know.
Right.
So yeah, yes, it's just it's an experience that all our children experience.
Mhm.
But you got to think about this. How do I use that to help other folk not make the mistakes we make? Because if you think about our incarceration, it was meant to lock us up, don't train us, don't give us no skills, don't do that. It's more of a punishment, our institutions. But now we're getting them to see that, listen, if you don't train them and give them some skills, when they come out, they're going to do the same thing. Because I don't care how many prisons they close, there's always going to be room in the end for us, even if we have to sleep on the floor.
Before.
Okay? And I'm just hoping the next phase is how do we get them to fund the programs that really work? Like the Welcoming Center.
Mm-hmm. So like speaking of that, Ernie, like talk a little bit about the Welcome Center, right? Like for people who are taking a look at this, have no idea what it is, right? Like kind of like give them a breakdown of exactly what the Welcome Center is.
A long time ago, they would just drop people off and say, you got to foot on your own. And you would see them with the paper pants on and the baggy pants. And you understand, they would just drop you off and you had to foot for yourself. So think about this. I've been locked down 5 years. Ernie, you're a free man and you just drop me off. Give me a bus token and say you're on your way. You think about that. Well, what happened was people began to think, well, there's got to be a better way. And the welcoming centers, through Rob Hubert and those guys who put it together, the concept on what it was going to do, instead of dropping a person off on North Avenue. Let's use North Avenue jail. When those guys get out, they just drop them right in front of the building. And you have to call your relatives or whoever you can call to give you a ride. But we've seen them just walk down the street with the khaki pants on. You know they're coming out of prison. So what happened with the welcoming centers was we worked directly with the prisons. So 6 months before a person is supposed to get out of prison, 6 months, they call the welcoming center. We do the interview over the phone. We know everything they need. We're prepared for them, whether it's housing, jobs. Everybody wants a job. So when that person, let's say Ernie Newton's getting out, you drop me off at the welcoming center. The first thing we do is give you a hug. Welcome home, my brother or my sister. Are you hungry? What do you need? When we go through there, we pull their file out and we begin the process. And we are in conjunction with recovery networks of programs because a lot of our brothers and sisters that get out, I tell you about prison that really caught my mind. The pill line was like they was giving $1 million away. I couldn't believe the lines of people who was in lines getting medication. Think about that. So when they get out, right? They're gonna need some kind of medication. If you've been doing that for 3-5 years and you get out, you need that.
Right.
So we hooked up with recovery network programs to handle the mental side of being incarcerated. Because guess what? We have a lot of brothers and sisters getting out that are institutionalized. How many people have you seen say, you know what? I'd just rather be locked up. I can't find no job. I can't find no housing. And I heard Jesse Jackson say this. Well, you want to know why people go back to prison? Because it's cool in the summertime, it's warm in the winter, and you got a bed, and you got 3 meals in a cot. Think about that. And we have a lot of institutionalized brothers. So I think that's some of it. But I can tell you, and Marcus is here, out of the 4 people, our recidivism rate is almost below the radar, put it that way. Am I right, Marcus?
You are. You are.
So we're doing a good job, man, trying to help our
That is
brothers and sisters, man.
amazing. Ernie, speaking to you, what I receive, you have such a unique energy that's very strong, yet humble. And earlier you were speaking and you said, after your period of, incarceration, you came out and you were answering phones. What type of preparation did you have to do internally? Because let's be honest, you're a big deal. You're a big deal. You're out here, people know your name. Then, you're brought down and then you're on the phone. What type of mental preparation did you have to do before you were released? What were you expecting? What were you thinking?
Here's what I did that a lot of people don't do. When I went to prison, I thought I seen brothers in prison watching the Sweet 16, watching this, watch basketball, football. You know what I was doing? I was getting the Connecticut Post 5 days later, and I was reading it. You want to know why I was reading it? Because I wanted to know what Bridgeport would look like when I came out. Think about that. Now think about that. I remember Stratford Avenue blooming and looking good, right? You talk about the mental piece of it. When people get out of prison, guess what? Bridgeport ain't gonna look the same way it did when you got locked up. Think about that. So I had a mindset that, Ernie, you wanna stay abreast of what's going on so that when you hit them streets, it won't be a future shock. I was with a brother who got out of prison, was down for about 10 years. He was stuck. He was standing on the corner, and I guess it was like a future shock. He was stuck. He was just looking around. He was like, and that's what happens because the buildings you used to know, they probably ain't there no more because things change. It evolves. And so that was my preparation because I was determined when I came back, number one, I'm not coming back with my head down. I didn't come in with my head down. So when I come out, I'm going to have my head up. And the reason I did is because I have children. And I want them to know that no matter what you go through in life, keep your head up.
Yeah.
And I tell people, you're going to make mistakes. You know why? Because you ever look at a pencil? You ever ask yourself why they put the eraser on it if everybody was Einstein? Because they knew we were going to make mistakes. So instead of having to throw a clean piece of paper away, they said, all you got to do is erase it.
Right.
Think about that. So that was some of my preparation, but it was hard. Because anytime you pulled away from your family, your livelihood, the things you were used to doing, to have somebody tell you when to get up, when to go to bed, all those kind of things were different for me. I ain't never had nobody tell me when to get up, when to go to bed, when to shower, when I can use the phone. But I knew this. This is what helped me. I knew I had a release date, and I wasn't going to change my release date. I didn't have a L, life. So it was kind of, I think, the part that was hard for me, when I was on my way back to Bridgeport for a resentencing, they put me in ankle bracelets.
Ernie, please, if you put your camera, I want to get your whole face. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
They put me in chains, and it was raining, and I thought about my ancestors, what they must have felt like with chains, and really, I thought about that, and I was sitting on the bus, coming back to Connecticut. I said, wow, now I had a taste of what my ancestors must have felt like, shackled and chained. And it brought tears to my eyes because I never thought that would happen to me. I never thought that.
And it sounds like it's a lot of it's tied to how you were really saying to yourself, this one experience doesn't determine who I am, right? Like,
That's right.
and I know, kind of working in the Welcome Center, having seeing guys that kind of get dropped off to you, a lot of them don't necessarily have that
That's right.
mindset, right? Like they feel completely different, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the kind of common things that you see when people have to go to the inner sentence and come right to you, right? Are they generally really motivated to go forward?
Mm.
Do you and your team got to push them?
Here's the thing that's really lets me know that these guys are serious. Out of all the people we've seen, I've had the opportunity because of how we make them feel crying. And you know what they say to us? We never thought somebody would care about us. All they need is the nurture to let them know that we care about you, man. But you got to care about yourself. And yes, anybody that come to me and say they need a job, and Marcus will tell you this, I'll tell you what, tell me how to keep a job and I'll get you a job. And if you got to think about it, I got to send you over to Strive. I got to send you to WeRise because I can get you a job, but the key is, can you keep it? Do you have any skills to know I can't be on my cell phone? I can't have my pants pulled down. So they have to be re-educated. And that's what we do, man. But as you said, once they come to us, man, and you know what I'm finding out? Before, you could just keep coming back. You know, you ain't have to call us. They did it so much. We had to tell them, hold it. Because we got other clients, you know, coming in, getting, y'all call us. And I can tell you, the welcoming centers have saved a lot of our brothers. Now, yes, some have gone back. But Marcus will tell you, we got some hell of a success stories of brothers that have gotten pardons. They're working in the field. They went to college. They're doing some amazing things, man. That 5 years ago they were gangbanging. And so that's why the welcoming centers are needed so much, man. And that's why I know for much is given, much is required. I know that Ernie, you got to help these guys, man. And you can help them because you're one of them. And it's been working. So, you know, I think you guys are doing a great job, man. And Marcus will tell you, I took Marcus' class, and I tell you this. And it was the best thing I ever did because it gave me some more enlightenment on what I'm doing today. Put it that way. You know, Marcus tried to get all this. I said, come on, Mark, man, I just want to learn, man. You want me to act like I'm come on, man. But it was a good experience for me. And I passed the course. Am I right, Mark?
You did. You did.
And, you know, but that's what it takes, man. That's what it takes.
Let me ask you this: assuming that you help multiple age brackets, different, what would you say? Because you know it's a tough time for the youth right now.
Yep.
The younger guys.
Yeah.
What would you say are the challenges or the biggest differences from the different age groups of the young men and women that you help?
I don't deal with a lot of the 17, 18 to up to 20s because there are programs we push them towards that handle that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so I mean, we get them, we don't turn them around, but what we try to do for them is we send them to a program that just deals with that age group. Okay, but what we do with brothers and sisters who come out might be in their 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean, I've seen people who were down for like 25 years, man. Okay, and they have to be reprogrammed, and they have to learn, man, that you know it takes time, but if you follow the blueprint, you'll be successful, man. And the other thing is being patient, man. You know, that's 90% of most people who come out of prison, man, is got to be patient. And that's something that a lot of brothers and sisters have to learn. Okay, so I mean, it's been something good for me, and everybody, like you said, everybody know who I am. So I've been able to go to places and tell people, look, this is what you gonna do. I'm not no gangster, but because of the relationship, they've been pretty good, man. And I'll tell you this, reentry is 100 times better than it was 20 years ago. Think about that. You know, 20 years ago, it was just lock them up, throw away the key. We go up to the prisons, we're doing a lot of stuff. And the collaboration has gotten better. Before, oh man, this is my territory, you know, and I don't need no help. The more we begin to collaborate, it's really working, man.
Absolutely. I just kind of on working with you, like you could see that a lot of times, like it takes a village, right?
That's
Like
right.
it's not one specific person; it's a group, right? A
Right.
group of agents, a group of individuals, and
Yeah.
kind of each pour into that individual person. But man, kind of going back to what you said before, Ernie, like they gotta want it and
That's right.
gotta be able to face those challenges, right? Because you're gonna have those
You're
moments of
going to have
discouragement.
them. That's
You're
right.
gonna have those moments where you feel like, you
That's
know
right.
what, screw this, it's taking too long.
Right.
I don't want to wait, right?
Right.
With that kind of point, how I know your team does a lot of re-engagement, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they do okay, listen, checking in on you. Like, how important is that support, right? Whether it comes from family, whether it comes from friends, whether it comes from programs, how important is that support in a person's journey to like get back to where they see themselves?
Here's the key to it. And I tell all my partners, when your word is all you got. I said, and I'm dealing with a population who have been lied to. You can't lie to folk, man. If you're going to do it, do it. If you're not going to do it, be man and woman. Say, I can't do that. Because we're dealing with a group of people, man, that feel already, man. Man, y'all are full of it. You ain't going to help me. It's the little things, man, that, like I said, I've had grown men, man, and I'm not lying. You can ask my staff. When we finish sharing with them on the possibilities and opportunities, they start crying because they never thought anybody would really care for them. So that's what the first thing I do. As soon as they come off is give me a hug, man. My number was 1. I was where you were.
Wait.
But look where I am today. And you can be in the same place. And ain't no magic. We don't have no magic wand that we're going to zap you and your world going. But if you put the work in, you'll be successful, man. And a lot of people aren't patient. We want what we want when we want it. But like I tell them, you just left a place that they told you when to get up, when to go to sleep, when you was patient with that.
Yeah.
Or if you wasn't, you end up in the hole and you knew, hey, that ain't a place I want to go. So you got to take that negative piece, flip it to the positive. If I could do it for that reason, when I get out, man, if that's going to help me get better, if that's going to help me progress, bring it on. Because you can't feel no lower than being in prison. Think about that. So, my prison experience, I thank God just made me better for what I'm doing today. You never know what God has in store for you. But I can tell you, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. So, it's been real good though, man. And the more we get the word out, the more we share our stories, because everybody should be willing to share their story.
Mm.
It wasn't, it's not that you're glorifying it. But what it's saying is, if I could do it, you could do it. Okay, but it's a step. Sometimes it's an inch. But it can be done because you looking at people that's doing it. So yeah, man, I'm blessed, man, and to help so many people, man, and we just gotta keep doing the work, man. And I think it'll happen.
Right. I want to go back again. I gotta say your experience is so
Take your
unique.
time, brother.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. You've dealt with so many different people from so many different walks of life. How do you think we fail to, kind of fill that gap of understanding from what those that are just as involved need, from those that truly don't understand what it's like? For instance, you being, in the General Assembly, understanding and speaking to so many different types of people. How do you fill that gap? How do you help those that don't or haven't had any ties to this space understand what's happening, and how do you think they possibly can help?
Well, you gotta understand, we're all affected either directly or indirectly.
Right.
You can't show me a lot of families that haven't had a loved one, a husband, a son, a nephew that ain't come through the justice system. Man. So think about this. Everybody's affected by our justice system, okay? If the more people we can help, then that means my mother has a chance to walk down the street without getting robbed or somebody breaking into my house. So people in the General Assembly, folk that don't really understand this, that they got loved ones that have been affected
Mm.
by our justice system, one way or the other. And there too, but for the grace of God, go I. So it's starting to change because guess what? Opiates, right? There are more white kids dying from fentanyl, and so we're all affected, directly or indirectly. But look how much attention it's getting now.
True.
Okay?
True.
See, I always tell people that don't have nothing, sure, they're gonna start going to the suburbs. They're gonna and see once it starts spreading, then we want to get involved. We want to make sure we want to try to. But as long as it was confined to a neighborhood or a city, but now it's going all over. So it's gotten the attention of legislators from around the country because we're all connected and they all got the same problems. And either we're going to stick together or we're going to drown together.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, the people are coming around more to understand that we're all affected by this. I was the first legislator that broke his silence when I had drug problems. But I had gotten clean and I didn't do it for no reason, but I helped a lot of legislators, man, that was in the closet. But, like I told them, and I know the symptoms, and I helped a lot of legislators because everybody needs somebody to talk to. It's not judgmental.
Mhm.
So, I've never been ashamed of it. It's been some struggles. I mean, my kids, I had to explain to them, listen, Daddy's sorry. But I done moved on past that. And it was hard for my kids. You know how kids talk junk about, tease your kids? My
Oh,
kids are fighting every day.
wow.
You don't talk about our father.
Right.
And I feel bad about that, man, that their lives was affected by that, man. And it affected them. They were angry. They had to give up. My son was a hell of a football player. He had to drop his dream and from playing football to help his mother take care of our family while I was incarcerated. And that hurt me. And so, it took a long period of time for him to let that go. Because I told him, look, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. Now, if you want to hold on to that, that's you. And that was a hard part for me, man. That was a hard struggle piece, my kids. And knowing what they went through. My daughter was getting suspended every day. Sons in them that was acting out. And that was the hard part for me. It was
Right.
nothing I could do but talk to him. Say, listen, it's going to be all right, man. Daddy will be home. So we go through our parts, man. But I didn't let that make me angry, bitter. I stayed the course. But you asked me what were some hard parts? That was the hardest piece because I missed good years out of their lives, man.
Mm.
But I thank God that they knew who their father was. And
Mm.
I'll give you an example. One day my wife, they called me I was in prison, and they were really acting out. So I got them all on the phone. I said, listen, let me tell you this. If I hear one more time that you guys are doing what you're doing, when I get out of prison, I'm going back. And I mean what I say. I'll go back to prison because when I get home, I'm going to deal with you. And guess what? They knew one thing. My father's serious. I said, I don't have no life sentence. And when I get out of prison, I'm going to deal with y'all. And that's, but my kids respected that because I wasn't a part-time father. Okay? They grew up with their father. Okay? They saw me every morning. And sometimes we got people who have been in prison try to come out talk to their kids. You ain't never been in their life. So it's the way you gotta handle it. But those were some of the toughest moments, man. missing somebody dying in your family, a loved one. So I had to deal with that. So those were some of the things that hurt me more and wasn't nothing I could do about it.
And it sounds like you did a great job at just understanding that, hey, listen, this happened, I accepted it, now I'm moving forward. And but I'm also sure you see a lot of guys or girls who kind of carry that sense of embarrassment, that challenge, hey, I'm not good enough, or no one's going to give me an opportunity, right? Like, what would be your words of wisdom, your advice, just anything you would share with them kind of coming home, especially if they're EOS or at the end of the sentence, right? Like they don't even have an opportunity to parole somewhere or go to a halfway house. They're literally coming right to the street.
Those are the ones we get. Those are the
Mhm.
ones we get that come straight to the street. And what I tell them is, listen, you have to do two things. One, you got to understand that you blew up a lot of bridges. And they ain't going to be mended just because you come home. I said, because we belong to the I'm sorry crowd, that group. I said, it's going to take time. I said, they ain't welcoming you home like you're a Vietnam veteran. I said, because let's look at what we do. Let's look at who we are. We're liars, cheats, whatever we do. Okay, was to just do what we do. People ain't gonna, cause you get home, that don't make, listen, you blew up the bridge. So just because you say I'm sorry, I bet you, I said, how many times in your life have you said I'm sorry? So my father used to tell me, sorry is for a sorry person. I said, oh shoot. Because we say we sorry, but we don't mean that. So I tell them it takes time. It takes time for people to, because guess what? Just because I came home, thank God, but it took time. They start having to clench their pocketbooks, thinking I'm gonna steal something when I was in addiction. It took time. But I said to me, I gotta prove to me, not to my family, because listen, they'll know the difference. People know the difference, man. They knew the difference when we did the wrong thing, right? So you mean tell me if I knew the difference from here he comes again, oh man, let me get out of here.
Right.
Our talk is different. Our walk is different. And that's what I tell them. Look, you can't, saying I'm sorry don't mean nothing. It's action now. I want to see your actions. I want to see you get up and go to class and follow through on something without giving up. That's what I want to see. And a lot of people, man, we want to come back and say, I'm back, and I'm doing the right thing. But just remember, like I said, we blew up a lot of bridges, brother. And it takes time to heal. It takes time to heal. So, that's how I look at it, man. Listen, some things you ain't gonna be able to mend.
Yeah.
But you gotta, at least you made a try.
So Ernie, one thing, like, let me ask you this, Ada, because that was very heavy and very real, especially when you were explaining about, your children and what you had to go through.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you could say that kept you through that?
My faith in a God that's greater than me, brother. I have a strong faith. And if it wasn't for my faith and my belief that, what? Only God can change the things that I can't do. And so it was my faith and that I carry dearly. And I know that I didn't do it by myself, man. And I ain't ashamed to let people know that, yes, I have a faith that's second to none. So that's what pulled me through it, man. That's what pulled me through it. If I didn't have that faith, brother, I don't know. I might have taken a different path, to destruction and mad and angry and blaming everybody and, So it was my faith that got me through it.
Earlier, you said that about 20 years ago, you said pretty much reentry is so much better now. Where do you feel like there are gaps? What can improve? And where do you see it like maybe 20 years from now?
I think that a couple of things. The legislatures have to understand, if you're going to close prisons and the welcoming centers, they got to be funded. They got to be funded. I think that the state is on the right track as far as allowing people to get degrees and allowing us to come inside the prisons to offer the program so that when they get out, they'll be already ready. Those things are happening, but you got to have funding to fund those programs that work. And I think that that's the piece that, it would be, most of the welcoming centers started with the COVID dollars. And in June, those dollars would have dried up.
Mm.
Now, it would be a travesty if all the welcoming centers closed. Think about that. Where they going? Back to prison. Okay? So those are, I think that that's the kind of thing that we got to do to get people on the right track, man. But it's working, man. Listen, I always tell people, if we save one life, we did our job. Everybody don't want to be saved. And I understand that. But there are a lot of brothers and sisters that do want to be saved. And I'm just grateful that people like yourselves, there are a lot of brothers and sisters out there, powerful examples that's doing the work. But the biggest thing I'm glad is that we've all come together instead of he doing his thing, this one. We're collaborating more than we ever have in this recovery piece, man. And that's the good part, man, the collaboration.
You're definitely right, because I remember a time when organizations were siloed, right?
Yep.
Where it's like, hey, these are my dollars. Go
That's
after
right.
your own dollars.
That's right.
I'm seeing a lot of collaboration on grants, on supports, right? So we can extend the services even longer,
That's
right? And you're so right that, man, when funding begins to shrink individually, we got to come together
That's,
collectively, one way or another, right? Because the need is going to always be there,
that's
right?
right.
That's the nature of the work, like we're not working ourselves out of a job. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So now it's about, okay, we know this thing is going to be perpetual. How can we put ourselves in a position to offer as much support as possible for those that are ready? So when they are able to transition, they can come back into society, get that skill, get that job, reconnect with their family, and move forward.
That's right. And I think the good part is, and I want to thank the city council. When we gave out that COVID money, that Harper money, the people that we gave it to were the people that were willing to collaborate with other people. So we told them up front, those who collaborate will get more money because nobody can do nothing by themselves. And I've seen for the first time a lot of collaborating, like career. We got a whole bunch of partners, man. We got, and that's the good piece about it, man. It shouldn't be this is my program. What can we do together to make it a better to serve the people that need the help the most, man?
Yeah.
And we're doing that. And I'm glad to see that piece came out of those dollars because we told them it's better if you collaborate because if you think we're going to give you all this money by yourself, it ain't going to happen.
Mm.
And the people that collaborated got a lot of money for 4 years. For 4 years, man.
So I guess kind of just trying to do our best to be mindful of the time. So this is something that's going to be public, Ernie, right? Like we talking about people that can see it years down the road,
Well,
right? Like thinking about who's going to be looking at this information, what services they might need. What's kind of one last thing that you'll leave the audience with to say, look, remember this about reentry, about support, about collaboration.
I always tell brothers, and I learned something growing up, that you can never let your situation nor your location obscure your destination. And I've lived by that. That I may have grown up in the hood, but the hood didn't grow up in me. I may have been on welfare, single parent, but that shouldn't be an excuse why I didn't get up and try to be the best person that I could be. And I think that we've got to get people to understand that nobody's going to give you anything if you don't work for it. And, I've seen it with my own eyes that brothers came out and did what we told them to do. And today they are success stories. Marcus can tell you, he got people working, got their own place. They're like, you would never know that they've been to prison. And that's because of programs like you guys are doing, the reprogramming of our minds. It's changing, it's working because we see it every day. And they come in, man, the first thing we do is get them some clothes. They take off the old, put on the new. I'm a new man. And like I said, I've seen grown men, man, crying because we gave them love. We gave them some clothes, little things. And they said it, Marcus, never thought that there would be people out here to really care about us. So we got to just keep up the work, man, and just don't get sidetracked, you know.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, man. Anytime you guys need me, man, you just call me, man.
Absolutely. We
Nah.
appreciate you so much. We
Hey,
do.
man, we're going to do this together, man.
Absolutely. We will.
All right.
Ernie, I appreciate your time. I know you're super busy, right? I think it's a testament of how much the work really matters to you, right? And I think in the business of people, you have to have a heart for others,
That's right.
right? So, man, I so appreciate you taking time out of your day to come hang out
Hey,
with
this
us.
is, man, listen, brother, I appreciate that you guys were thinking enough of me, too, because you could have called anybody.
Whoa,
But you
what you mean? This is an honor. This is an honor. You got to stop
come
that.
on, man. Come on,
Honor
man.
is ours.
Come on, man.
The honor is ours. Come
It's
on, man.
more mine, man. Trust me, because you brothers are doing a great job, man, and we need to come together, man. And that's what this broadcast will be about. It will be about bringing us together, saying a consistent message, man, that we're here to help you. We came from where you came from, and we got a proven track record. We got a Ernie Newton, we got a Marcus, we got a Psalm, we got a class of witnesses that can testify. It's up to you, man. We ain't gonna carry you, but we're gonna get you to the door. We're gonna have you prepared.
That's right.
Decision is yours, man.
That's right.
And
I
like
love
I tell them, listen, I can get you to the door, but I can't get you through the door.
that.
That's up to you, but I guarantee you, you're gonna be prepared. And that's what it takes. So listen, fellas, I really enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Anytime you need me, man, much love to you. I'm always here, man, if you need me.
All right, Ernie.
All right.
Much love to y'all, man.
Much love to you as well.
All right.
Sounds good. I mean, I guess we can stop. We'll figure out how to do a closing in the next one, and we gotta get better, but it's pretty good.